Hello and welcome to the Germany Medicine Stories podcast. Please note that nothing that I or any of my guests say here is or should be misinterpreted as medical information or advice. These are personal stories, not prescriptions. Okay, so this week we have my sister back, this time sharing all about her chronic pain that she has successfully resolved. And it wasn't just one biological program. It was sort of a mishmash of sort of interrelating adaptations, some self-evaluation, some motor conflict, which is a really common combination with chronic pain. Her story specifically was shin splints and plantarfaciitis, and then like chronic hamstring tightness kind of up into her SI. But it doesn't matter if you suffer from the particular kind of pain. That's not the point. Because these sort of patterns and like ways of thinking and the values and like how people, how you perceive yourself is sort of shared across, self-evaluation, motor stuff, uh, whether or not, you have the pain in your hand or in your foot. Okay, so still going to be relevant for you. And her story is great. It's different from other ones we've had on the podcast because it's very much like physical performance related to the ability of her body to do what she wants it to do. Um, and so, yeah, if you're an athletic person and you find, pain getting in the way of your sports, of working out, of whatever, it's very likely you are running some of these programs, super, super common, and such easy symptoms to misinterpret and completely misunderstand if you don't know the two-phase pattern and you don't understand that, the tightness from a motor conflict is coming in conflict activity and that the pain of a self-evaluation is coming after a resolution, okay? That it's not a sign of a problem, it's a sign of a positive self-esteem boost. So, yeah, hopefully it's fun story, fun listening to us talk together. I don't know, maybe we're the only ones who find it fun. Um, but anyways, enjoy this podcast with my little sister, who, by the way, has been practicing working one-on-one with people and is getting very good at it very fast. And right now is offering like way reduced prices for one-on-one sessions while she gets the hang of it. So if you've been wanting to work with somebody one-on-one, you want to work with me, I only take, a handful of one-on-one clients. But since she lives in my house and all we do is talk about GNM, you will get me, sort of in the background, pointing her in different directions or like as a sounding board if she's stuck somewhere with somebody. So, um, yeah, I will link her website and Instagram and stuff in the show notes, and you can discuss your issues with her, particularly what's she great at? I don't know, KCT, chronic pain. Oh, especially fertility stuff, actually. Menstrual cycles, fertility issues. She's your woman. So, yeah, hope you enjoy.
Oh yeah, yes. So this is the story about how my God complex around sports gave me chronic pain for like over around 15 years. Um, I think before, like, to give some context as to why this was relevant for me, I was the youngest of like three, and both you and our other sister like had your niches and your things that you were good at, and you guys got like praise for that. And I think sports at a very young age became that for me. I would get like a lot of praise from my parents, from coaches, from teammates for my athleticism, like my
For being
speed,
so fat.
for my being so fast, for being strong. Probably like most of all for my aggression.
Oh yeah.
And like the fact that I wouldn't back down from like a tackle and I would get like a lot of praise. So it became like basically what I saw my worth as.
Mm.
And like and this is when I say this, like it was very young. Like I would be in like 5 or 6 thinking this about myself. Like because the conflict started
You
with
remember thinking about it that young?
I think I mean I don't remember necessarily like what age I was, but the conflict would have started when I was like 8 or 9.
Right, right.
And so I had to have been thinking this before
Yeah.
then that like yeah, and I know I do remember like even in really little league football or soccer, like running around and being like, yeah, I'm fucking shit. I am a god. Like, and obviously, but like, I think what's more important than that is that it comes kind of, it stems from like insecurities in it. Like,
Yeah.
but like, that's what I felt my worth was in. So like, I had to be good or else I like wasn't good enough.
Well, and we'll get into the like megalomania
Yeah.
constellation and
Yeah.
anyways.
Because that became and yeah, and I think the more I tell my stories, the more that you'll see that I am very prone to self-evaluation conflicts.
Around physical sports.
Yeah. But even my menstrual cycle was like a self-evaluation
yeah.
conflict. And like a lot of it's linked to pride and linked to like not wanting to be bad at things and mess up and there's like a lot of shame around not being good enough basically. And so yeah,
which I think also made like so you had two older sisters who had their niches, but also it's like they're older, so they also I think I'm just imagining being the youngest sister. It's like you are expected to like know how to do life earlier, and so it's also more embarrassment for like not knowing because well, everyone else already knows.
Exactly. And like I think Freya's very quick to laugh at me about this context or this conflict, but
because it's fucking hilarious.
It's really funny. But Freya also knows like every single assignment she handed in school from when she was like 5 years old. So hers is just on a different topic. But yeah, each person's conflict is relevant to them, and this was definitely very relevant to me growing up. And so I first got Shin Splints. First got Shin Splints, and that was probably when I was 8 or 9. And looking back, like I had a theory as to like where it began, which was in running club in like grade 5. So
like it's like a school club where you run during lunch break.
Yeah, it's just lunch break. But our mom would come and she would like chaperone and she had no chill.
Not at all. No, I also did running club.
Yeah.
She's awful.
Absolutely no chill. And I was like good at
because bigger context, keeping drunk whatever, it's gonna be all over the place. But bigger context is also like our mother, basically Kezia's just like repeating the patterns of our mom because like she got an athletic scholarship to like a fancy private school in the UK and like was like the athletic queen of this school and
so she saw that in us.
Yeah, and she wanted it to like repeat that. Like okay, as an example, like when I did track and field and I got really into hurdles, which I was great at, thanks. But our mom made like because she did track and field in school. So we were taking it very seriously. She like made like hurdles out of PVC piping and then would like make us do reps in the backyard.
And this is when you're like probably 9.
Something like that. But I mean it did work. I was the only one who could do 3 steps and I beat everyone by a full second in the family. So
right, well.
Anyways, but I think that's like context to understand as well of like
this wasn't all coming from me.
But like the running club, it wasn't like mom was just like chaperoning and it was like fun times. It was like you gotta like
so you gotta run. Like if you're walking this, like you're kind of a failure. No, and the thing is she doesn't remember it this way because I talked to her about it recently and she's like, no, you wanted to do running club and you asked me to go along and I was like,
which like it easily could be the case. Like your perception.
Yeah, it could have been. But I remember hating running club and and my mom was there and she would be like, Kezia, run faster. Like what why are you walking? Like do better. And the reason like this
she is lovely, but she
love my mom, but she's a competitive edge and she passed it to me. And then the reason I traced it back to this is because the things that I always got shin splints on was long distance running and running like anything on concrete, which was what like running club was. And it was also on both sides of my body, so it would have been like mother child as well as like everyone else, and they were both around. I didn't want to disappoint my mom, and also I didn't want to seem like I was bad at this in front of all my peers either because I had a god complex about being good at sports. And also I think like another part that probably plays in is that like I used to always play football or soccer with the boys at recess, and so like I think my pride of like I had to be good enough to do that. Like I had to I
Right,
couldn't
because you were
show
just as
weakness.
hardcore as they were.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. And yeah. So anyway, Shin Splints when I was 8 or 9, I had that for like a year. And then it switched a bit later into plantarfaciitis. And then throughout my teenage years, I had more plantarfaciitis than shin splints. But sometimes we get shin splints. Um, and and yeah, they're pretty similar conflicts, but I managed to kind of tease apart the differences as to like when which one comes.
Okay, and how like debilitating.
Oh yeah, they were so bad. Like once they would come, they would like not go away. I would be going to physios, acupuncturists, orthopedic people. I would be having ice baths before and after every practice and game. I would be taping up my shins or taping up my feet. I would go play soccer and I would come off and have a teammate like roll my calves and my feet, and then I'd go back on and play. Like it was so bad. It really hurt, and it got worse and worse and worse. Especially the plantar fasciitis got worse and worse like as I got older, and also like I was
Which was
always
like really crushing because you were,
yeah.
on the road to an Olympic gold medal.
I was not, but my ego wanted that, yes. And I always had this like really big victim mentality of like why me? Like why am I fast and strong and why am I injured all the time and I can't do levels that I want to do and I can't train because of this and so yeah, and there'd be certain things that would like make it worse but nothing really made it better. And also I was always told like these are just growing pains, like give it a
Mm.
few years, but like 10 years later I'm still getting that. And then I took a break, so it all like built up at the end of high school. The conflict, which I didn't know was the conflict, the reason for my plantar fasciitis then, was really weighing down on me and all the pain. And eventually, I just like I quit football, soccer. It stopped becoming fun. I like just hated it. I hated like myself when I was playing it because I just put so much pressure on myself, which was dumb because it was like a high school sport. But like this is just like I got so wrapped up
Okay,
in
for
it.
you, it was like you're carrying the team. Like I have to. Come on, you gotta go into the
Yeah, okay,
details.
yeah. Basically, yeah, when I say I had like a God complex about it, like I would like that's what it really came down to at the end.
Because you were a forward, you scored the goal.
I was a forward, so I scored the goals, and so it became this thing of like if we didn't win, like that was my fault. And that no one was telling me that, but that was my perception, and that's how I would like read other people's body language and like chat towards me was I was like, oh, they all are blaming me because like I'm not good enough anymore. Like because and then it would become a cycle because like I'm not good enough anymore because of my pain. My pain would get worse. I'm not good enough. I don't want to play, but like but I have to.
But you're
And
gonna make it to
I
provincials.
yeah, I'm gonna make it to provincials. We're gonna win the gold, which we came second. Never won the gold. And yeah, and I would just like it lost all its fun because I just got so wrapped up in that I had to be good enough and I wasn't. Um, yeah,
Okay, so
and
so
like
you stopped playing.
so I stopped playing. I stopped playing. I left Canada. I went to a different I went to Costa Rica for a couple of years. And there I tried to continue playing, but I like could not do it. Like I hated it.
Mhm.
I like every time I stepped onto the pitch, like something visceral like would happen. And I would need to leave. Like I didn't like to play anymore. And I tried many times over the years, kind of like the same thing, didn't like it anymore. Eventually, 7 years later, I got back into it, and like what happens? Like a month in, I get shin splints again. So it's not the growing pains anymore. Like, why am I getting shin splints? And I actually remember the exact moment that I got it. I was playing, we were at practice, and we were doing these like short. I always perceive them as like short foot drills, like like or like not. I perceived that I was good at running lengths, but I was not good at in like small spaces um or footwork drills.
Yeah, because you were more like brute force than like
Yes, I was more
fitness.
yeah, and I knew that, and so I think my perception was like footwork drills is going to reveal that I'm actually pretty shit. It's like I'm not actually very good. Um, like if I'm just on an open pitch, like I can get away with like speed and yeah, brute force. But if we're in practice and we're doing footwork drills, it's gonna be shown that I'm not very good. And then I think I remember being like, oh, I'm actually enjoying this. Like this is fun. And I'm not actually that bad at this. Like it's okay. And then like
Right.
instantly like crippling shin splints, and they didn't leave. Like then I just like had them for like months after that in every game and every practice. And like really bad. Like I would like cry sometimes like because they hurt so bad. But kept playing because I liked playing.
Can't let down
Can't let down the
team.
team, can't let down the God complex. Like I didn't really at that point I did know a little bit about GNM and I was like messaging Freya being like, I don't know what to do, like what is this? And not really getting an answer because obviously I needed to see for myself what the pattern was. Like I needed to like I couldn't just say to Freya, fix me. Fix me. I had to see like what the actual pattern was. And I saw it for the first time really, really clearly, probably like 7 months ago. I was rehabbing a different injury, which we'll get into later, which is a really great story. Um, and I was going on runs, but again, like this is what I was always not good at was going on like long distance runs. So I was doing couch 5K and I was at a very like early point in it. So like nothing very significant, but I still believe like I couldn't do that. And it was like running 3 times like 3 minutes. So like not very long.
Because you would do like 3 minutes walk, 3 minutes out.
Yeah. And I was doing that and I was on the last round being like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it. Like I'm actually doing this. Like I can do this. And I finished the run and I was like super, super happy about myself, like literally on a high. Um, and being like, wow, I'm so happy right now. And then what happens? Like instantly stabbing pains of shin splints, like right after the run. Like probably the worst like random onset that I've ever had. Like sometimes it creeps in slowly, but this time it was just like stabbing pain. And I saw it like really clearly just then. I was like, oh, I feel good about myself. And I feel like I've achieved what I like thought I couldn't do. And then and this is like the result. Like this is my body healing like a self-devaluation. And instantly, like when I put those two together, the pain downgraded like 80%. And then within 5 minutes, like the pain was gone. And so like that was the first time it's ever happened. Whenever I get shin splints, it lasts like 2 to 3 months. And so yeah, I saw then that like my shin splints was very much based on like this belief that I couldn't do.
Right. It doesn't start with the running. It starts with all the pre-talk before you even go on a run.
Exactly. Like I'm like, can I run today? I don't know. Like what if I can't do it? Like what if I fail? Like what if like and yeah, so noticing like how often I was thinking that and it was very often. And like and it would always be and so then I started thinking like when do I get shin splints? Like I get shin splints when I run, when I do anything on concrete. That was like always the big number one rule growing up. Like I can never ever run on concrete. I had to stop doing track and field. I had to stop doing basketball because hard ground was like the big no-no. And it also was like anytime like in that football practice that we do training drills because I can't do I don't have the fine footwork that I think I should.
But you would have had a different did you have another explanation of why doing like fine footwork would?
Yeah, it would just be like, oh, that's why I said like the short step drills. I was like, there's
Right.
there's something in them that's like my body's not built for. Like I run sprints. I can't do the short things, and that's always been my perception. And then also like then the pain became an excuse. I was like, oh, I can't do these because they give me pain. So then I wouldn't do them, um, and yeah, and so I saw that pattern, and then I stopped it or not like fully, but as much to I could. I was just like, okay, noticing when those came up, trying my best to
Also because also at this time like you're back home we're like you're telling
yeah. So yes, yeah. So then I'm telling all my family, and we're all having a good laugh about how I have a god complex around sports and how I think I have
it was
to be
also
better.
helpful that like you could see like okay let's say our mom at that time like took up pickleball and she would like come home from pickleball just like
Yes.
tweaking out about
Yeah.
like her lack of skill or whatever. And
Or even like her perception that like, oh, this other person thinks they're so good. But
yeah.
I saw her do that and I was like, why is that
Or she'd
me?
come home and be like, I'm so fucking good. Like,
Yeah.
and it was like hilarious because I'd have like one conversation with Kezia about like her football, and then mom would come home from pickleball. And I'm like, I'm having this same fucking conversation right now. And I think it was helpful for you to see as well.
Definitely.
Like, so on one hand, you're like, you're articulate because you weren't like as a kid like saying all this stuff about how good you were at football out like,
no.
like I'm the best and I'm gonna let my team down. Like that wasn't exactly like
no, that was very much, and I would say like again, love my mom, but like that she was a really big part of that. Like I remember playing basketball and like I had a phase in basketball where I would like anything I would do, shoot shot, didn't go in, like bad tackle, whatever. I would look up in the stands and see my mom's reaction, and like
you would look at her.
I would look at her, and I would do it compulsively the whole game. Like, and she was like, Kezia, you have to stop doing that. Like,
she knew you were doing it.
She knew I was doing it. Yeah. She knew I was doing it. Like our stepdad would also be up there, like, and they would both like be like, Kezia, why do you always look
like you wanted the smile?
Yeah, I like knew the reaction was gonna be good or bad, and just like I think I wanted to preempt it of being like, yes, I know I just did a bad thing. Like I know I didn't play well, or I know I didn't I wasn't good enough. Like I don't need you to tell me later. Like I know. And I think like our mom,
because sometimes she definitely would.
Yeah, our mom like even you know, I could win, I could get like player of the match, I could get like any award, or like I get a bunch of goals, and she'd be like, yes, good job, but like you could have done better at this. You know, like it was very much like and I did feel that pressure from her that like
and from her like just like you know in her like framework of things, like it's like very loving. Like she was always like, okay, well you guys are good at these things, so then you have to be better.
Yes.
Like so it's like my role to push you.
Yes, yeah. And I did feel like at the end of high school, you know, when I was really struggling with football or soccer, sorry, I, you know, she would also be the voice in my head of being like, you are letting your team down. Like it didn't, it was really funny to be like, why do you have a God complex, Kezia? But it wasn't just me. Like it came from people around me. And I definitely didn't feel like I could just play for fun and it was fine that I like messed up every so often or all the time.
So basically all of this like was coming to your awareness, and then you were able, did you do the 5K?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or yeah. Basically this was all coming to my awareness, and I just like for a while kept doing what I was doing, the like couch 5K, and just being like, I'm fine, I can do this. And I would notice like even more subtle patterns of thought. So I would continue running. But sometimes in the morning I would wake up. This is at the phase where I would wake up at 6 and go running, and I would wake up and be like, oh, do I really want to get up today and go running? Like, I don't know if I really want to do this. And those times I would get light shin splints. But the times that I would just like get up and be like, no, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go up, I wouldn't get any pain at all.
Like so if you didn't proceed with like a conflict activity, then you wouldn't go into resolution.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. So I started to notice that a lot, and tease out like what thoughts specifically are the ones that like I'm having. And eventually like it got to the point where I just was fine. And then I was like, okay, now's the time to challenge my biggest fear, which is running on pavement. And I ran on pavement and I was fine. I just like sat with myself before being like, this is fine. I can do this. I'm able to do this. I want to do this. And then I went for a run, no shin splints. And now like I only really run on pavement. I don't get shin splints unless I tweak out about it before. So I had like a month ago now, I guess I did my first park run. And I was, which is like a communal like 5K run. And I was like with friends, and they were going to come with me. They didn't in the end, but they were going to come with me. And Yeah, and but the night before I was just tweaking out about it. I was like, "Ah, can I do this? I don't know. Apparently there was a hill on the park run. I was like, I've never run a hill before. I don't know if I'm gonna do this. What if I fail? Like, what if I just look like a bad runner? What if they're a better runner than me? Like, I
Because
was,
your friends were gonna be there.
yeah, my friends were gonna be there. Like, what if I can't do a continuous 5K? Like, I had done one continuous 5K before this point, but I was like, what if I now have to stop? Like, then I'd be a failure. Like, I have to do this all at once. Like, it was, I could see those thoughts, and I was like really trying to stop them. And then I went and ran.
Sometimes you just can't.
Sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you just have to like live and learn. And in the end, my friends didn't wake up for the park run. It was just me. And I didn't, I like did get shin splints pretty quickly, but I just like would stop and I'd chill out a bit and then I'd go and continue running and it was fine. And so again, like yes, I would get shin splints, but sometimes
Also a good lesson, like you could just, it was very affirming.
yeah, very affirming. Because before that point, you know, I hadn't had shin splints for like a couple months of like I just hadn't had any occurrences of them. I was able to train. I was able to do like so many things I had like never had access but to before because I didn't have pain anymore. And so yeah, there's that incident. But even though I got the shin splints, it lasted 1 minute. Where like before I would have gotten them and they would last.
Right, because they made sense to you.
Forever.
It wasn't
Yeah.
just like, oh, this horrible thing that's coming out of nowhere and oh,
Yeah,
poor me.
poor me, like, why did God do this? Would be like always my thought before, but now it was just like, okay, that's funny. I was really on one last night about this run. And like, I'm fine and I'm gonna be okay and this isn't gonna be a problem. And so yeah, that was my shin splints. And my plantar fasciitis was a bit different. It didn't really come back as much when I came back into sports like 7 years later. And that's because the thoughts that go with my plantarfaciitis is like I have to be the best, or like people expect me to be the best, or like I don't want to let people down. Or I would say like shins like
And did you have it recently? Is that how you figured
yeah,
it
that's how I
out?
figured it out.
What
Yeah,
happened?
because I two times. One was like after I ran my first continuous 7K. And I was really, really proud of myself. I came home and like told everyone I was super happy. And then even though I knew I didn't have to run that the next day, a little voice in my mind was like, oh, but you know, now everyone expects you to be able to do that. And like as Freya likes to remind me, no one gives a shit. Like no one cares whether I can run any distance at all. But in my head, I'm like, oh, but now they're going to think, and now they're going to think like,
That you're a loser if you don't do
I'm a
7K
loser
the
if I don't
next
do
day.
7K, or like next time I have to do 8K, like who knows? And so that was the time. But then the next run, I did get some plantar fasciitis, which was like the first time I'd gotten that in a long time. The other time I got it
Right, you
recently.
had to like beat your PB basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like I had to be the best. I was like, now that I'm actually like able to long distance run, not even very well, like our other sisters started running again and basically beat me in like a week, you know, but it's not my strong suit, but now it was like becoming something that I could do. So now I had to be the best at. And people would expect that I had to do better because also I was like training to be
Firefighter.
a firefighter at the time. Um so I was like, now I'm doing this. Everyone expects that I'm like of a specific athletic capacity. And the other time I had plantar fasciitis recently was when I had this mistake with an appointment that I had. Um, and I was out on a dog walk and I realized I was going to miss this appointment. So I started sprinting back.
Because of the time, like
Yeah, because of the
wrong.
time. Yeah, I got the time wrong. And I started sprinting back with the dog. And then I just realized, you know, like there's no point in running because I'm not actually going to meet this appointment. I called them up and rearranged. And right after I did that and I was walking back, I got plantar fasciitis. And that's because like I hate being late and I hate like letting down people by being late and I have this whole like perception about it. Like I can't handle being late. I've never been able to handle being late. Because I just think uh yeah, what are people gonna I don't know, people are gonna think that I'm not not a good person. I don't know. I have a whole thing about it and yeah, and that's when I realized it wasn't necessarily it was that I had to be the best. It was more like I don't want to let people down by not being what they'll expect of me. And like plantar fasciitis is a bone level devaluation from at least my understanding
Mm.
of it. And that's like the deepest level of devaluation. And I think like I relate to that a lot of just like I don't want to let people down. And I don't want to like not meet people's expectations or like disappoint people. Like that's something we've talked about a lot. And so yeah, those were two things that were completely debilitating growing up. And
Maybe if you had known Jin,
maybe if I'd known that I could have, I could
you.
have gone. I could, but like it was great. I guess like it was great having family around because then I like joined a soccer team recently. And I would come home and be like, guys, they said this to me. Like I would have received like praise from them.
Oh my God.
Like one of the yeah.
Because you would get like you would just play over and over in your head when the things people would say.
Well, like I would get praise from them and I'd be like, oh no, like please don't say this because I can't add to like my complex right now. Like, and so I'd have to come home and I'd have to tell you guys this and then you just make fun of me for it. So like this one girl was like told me that she told her dad about me.
Oh yeah,
yeah. She told her dad about me, and then her dad was like, "Oh, like this like higher team might come and snatch her up," and I was like, "No, no, like it's like I don't even want that. I don't want that." But then my ego's like, "Oh, but don't you want that? Like, wouldn't that be nice?"
That was a fun evening. We had a lot of jokes.
Yeah, and so basically every time I like went to football or soccer after that, I would be like, they would all say, "Oh, make sure you get scouted today." Or off to go get scouted by like X, Y, and Z. Like, yeah. So that was good. I really had to humble myself to get over this one and to be like, it's really not that deep and that like no one cares whether I'm like good enough or not. But I think it's a very like teenage, I don't know, conflict that just like kept going in my
Yeah, and to realize
psyche.
that like people value you for other reasons.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely.
Just as a side note, because I think it's like, well, okay, before I say the side note piece, like, I don't think we've talked, well, maybe I have actually, no, I have talked about megalomania with my self-evaluation before, but like, so when you have a self-evaluation conflict on one side of the body and on the other side, and they're active at the same time, then it creates a constellation, so you become like megalomanic over the content of like whatever that's about. So this is why, because you had the God complex, and, like I'm so good and like I could go so far and la la. And if you want to like understand it at this like constellation at the extremes and like what and the why it really is a positive adaptation and like gets people really far. Watch, I think it's called like, is it called Sprinters or The Sprint? Anyways, I think it's on Netflix. It's on something, and it's about
a bunch of high level athletes.
Well, it's about the like 100-meter like so the fastest runners in the world, like women and men. And like they're all like intense megalomania, like especially like Noah Lyles, like it's peak and like you can see it. And it's a very fascinating story actually because he had like intense asthma as a child. And so he wouldn't have had like a lot of physical capacity. So like you could see where those comics would have come from. And then but like having this like unwavering belief like you're just better. You're just better than other people. Like you don't make mistakes. Like you've got it. You got like you need that to be high level at anything. And so like you typically to like hyper successful people have megalomania in whatever that is. Because it like it gives you that drive, that feeling like nothing can touch me, you know?
I think that was it for me because like if you ask anyone who's played soccer with me, like that's how I act. Like is like nothing can touch me. I can do anything. I like go in for the really stupid tackles. I go in like I make runs that like are pretty impossible to make.
Because like I just have my megalomania, which was like much more around like work stuff. It allowed me like I could say anything on the internet, like because I was like nothing gets me, like
I'm invincible.
Absolutely. And then when he was like, and that's part
of the reason I haven't fully resolved both these conflicts, and I don't.
In the sense that you could still go back.
I could still go back to them. I still like will step on them to like a small degree, but I don't get pain really. But I don't really. I guess like part of me doesn't want to resolve them because I like playing with no fear.
Yeah.
Um,
Which, like, I mean, honestly, like, I completely get because I don't
yeah,
have my megalomania anymore because no, and I don't think, like, I wouldn't trade having the level of pain, like, chronic pain that I had for that. But, like,
yeah,
I can't really, like, be on social media like,
yeah,
I mean, it's really hard for me now.
yeah,
Whereas before, it was like, and everyone would be like, you have such thick skin. Like, it was like, oh, I'm just like really hyper confident. But
yeah,
that hyper confident, like, that was a biological gift. And I think
yeah,
it's helpful to see that because it helps you understand, like, these adaptations aren't arbitrary. Like,
yeah,
you're being given, like,
yeah,
this help from your body.
yeah.
And sometimes that, results in these behavioral personality changes, and some of them, really debilitating, like, let's say, depression, but some of them,
They're great. I love it.
yeah.
I love feeling invincible. And like when we get to what if I tell like my cycle story, that was like a big shift where I
Mm,
did like interrupt a megalomania and it completely shifted my
yeah.
relationship with the sport.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did like I've experienced what it's like to like resolve something like that. And I think I'm like, oh, I don't want to lose.
Yeah, which is like totally not, and like it's
Yeah,
another lesson to learn. Like the point of knowing Germany medicine is not never have like success doesn't mean never step on a track again,
yeah,
never have a symptom again. It's like for me, the word that I think about recently is like it's participation. I want to be able to participate in the two-phase pattern, in my symptoms, instead of
yeah.
them controlling me. I want to have some
Awareness.
ability, yeah, awareness and ability to like choose. Like
Yeah,
sometimes be actually very helpful, like for me to step back on my old tracks
yeah,
and be megalomanic again, or like to be a mytho again and just be like obsessively writing and like having all these ideas. Like
yeah,
those things really helped me at times, as
yeah,
much as it came with like other things, like just like nonstop thoughts, not being able to sleep. Like it helped, but still it was
yeah,
fun while it lasted.
yeah,
So anyways, the point is not no symptoms. It's like let's understand them and use them to our advantage if possible.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, let's get
okay.
into the the best one.
The best one. Okay. So this story had to come first, so you understood why I was like why I had such a perception around sports, and a lot of it came from insecurity. Like I needed others to tell me that I was good enough. Like I needed the awards that I got. I needed like praise. And so then we'll get into my first like really big resolution, the one that like when I found it and then the pain went away straight away, basically.
Right, yeah. In
Uh,
terms of GNM, you mean like
in ter yeah,
cementing like
yeah, in terms of
yeah.
GNM, in terms of like yes, technically the Shin Splints one came first, but it wasn't a full resolution, full
It didn't like let's say make you believe in the system in the same way.
no, this one was like absolutely blew my mind. Okay, so what happened was it started about a year and a half ago. I had rejoined soccer and I was playing on this new team. And it took me a while to get into a groove of playing, and I just felt like, oh, maybe I'm not good enough anymore. Like maybe I can't be as fast as I once was. Maybe I can't score goals. Whatever, whatever. And then I had this one game that I felt really good about afterwards. And I just finally ran fast. I finally felt good
You
about
hit your
myself. I hit
stride.
my stride. And I walked away like feeling really happy about myself. And then the next game, basically I in the first minute I went for a run and I completely blew my hamstring. And it made no sense to me when it happened because I was like, I did nothing. Like I didn't twist anything. I didn't tackle anyone. I didn't do anything. I went for one sprint and it was in the initial thing that my left hamstring just completely went. It was my like as deep as my sciatic nerve. I had pain that started in my hamstring but would go all the way up to my hip and all the way down to my toes. And I basically was out for a couple months and then I came back and I kind of just I couldn't get rid of this
Tightness.
tightness in my hamstring. And so I kind of was always on the verge of re-injuring it so that I ended up stopping for the season. And this is the injury that I was supposedly rehabbing when I started running. Um, and I didn't really have a breakthrough about this. But we had some ideas, but I didn't really have a breakthrough about this until probably like 5 months ago when I had joined my new team after I moved down here. And it was the second game with them. And following this game, I had a huge flare up of my hamstring really hurting. And so I just like sat down for a bit and really tried to think like what happened in that game, and like why was it the same as what happened a year and a half ago.
Like
Um,
what feeling you had
yeah, because
in
the
turn.
content was different.
Yeah.
While they were both like in a soccer game, the content was wildly different. Basically, in the one that was 5 months ago, I it was a really intense game. I got really riled up by the other team because they were like tugging my jersey. They were really trying to tackle me, and so I started being more aggressive back, and then they were like mouthing off to me, and I was just getting really pissed off. And eventually, at the end of the game, this girl and I go up for a header, and she hits her head against mine, and she just screams really loud, like, "Oh my God!" And I just snapped. I was like, "What? You're gonna blame that one on me too?" Because I just felt like the whole game was getting blamed on me, and I was just like, what do you mean?" And she immediately goes like, "Shut the fuck up, you." I don't know how much I can swear on this, but like this like long string of profanities towards me, and immediately I just went, "Oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. I'm a terrible person. Everyone's gonna think I'm a mean person. Like this is a new team and they're all gonna think I'm an asshole. And also, this team is gonna catch me on my way to my car and shiv me." Like that was like a perception night. This is like a panic thought that I had. Like I'm gonna get trapped. Like I'm gonna get caught. Like and that was the thing. Like I'm gonna get caught. Um, yeah.
Oh.
So then I was like, "Hey."
They're gonna just grab you and shank you over your car.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, do I need my team to walk me out to my car?" Like, I felt like this team had such a thing against me. And in that moment, I was just like, I'm ruined. I'm gonna get caught. And also just like, and I guess for context, I never talk back to the other team. Like, it always makes me feel really icky. Everyone else does it, and I don't like it. And so I just also felt really bad about like
Stooping to such a low.
stooping to such a low level. Like, even though I didn't say anything bad, I was just like, "Come on." Like, and then she was yelled at me a string of profanities as well as the other people in her team. And yeah, so then I was like, what was the same thing that happened a year and a half ago?
And I think we, if I'm remembering, we'd had like a conversation relatively close to that of like, it's your secrets that make you sick.
Yes, it is your secrets. So then I was like, what happened a year and a half ago? Like, what was the same between this instant and then? Like, what was the conflict shock? Because I had never had really like a hamstring blow before, so like it wasn't something that happened when I was younger. It was something that happened initially a year and a half ago. And yeah, so in that team, after each game, we would anonymously vote for player of the match. And I walked off that pitch like after playing really well.
This is the week before.
This is the week before, yeah. I walked off that pitch and I was like, man, I feel really good about myself. Like I want it. I need it. Like that was the thing. It was like a need. I needed the validation from people to be like, yeah, I am good enough to be here. Because when I rejoined soccer, I didn't join necessarily on a chill level. I kind of just like went to like a fairly decent level and I really had this like, am I good enough to be here? I don't know. And yeah, so I just needed
Gotta
people.
rip the band-aid off. What did you do, Kezia?
Yeah, okay. I get home and I'm t talking, and the thing is like it's funny because the emotional isolation piece is like I got home and I told my roommates this. I told them I was like, I feel really good about how I played. I kind of want MVP. I kind of want to vote for myself. And they're like, yeah, go for it. Like just do it. And I couldn't bring myself to do it while I was with them. Probably would have saved myself an injury if I did, because I wouldn't have been isolated in the experience. Instead, I did it in the middle of the night.
But you woke up in the middle of the night.
I think I hadn't. I wasn't like.
You were so conflicted.
I was like conflicted about it that I wasn't even like sleeping. I was like, should I do it? Should I not? Da, 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 da. Anyway, in the end, in this like mix of confidence in myself and then also need for validation from other people, I voted for myself. And the second that I did it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the worst person ever.
And they're
yeah.
you're gonna be caught. They're all gonna find out.
Yeah. I was like, I'm the worst person ever. Everyone's gonna think I'm a narcissist. Everyone's gonna think I'm a bad person. I wish I could take this back. Maybe this isn't anonymous. Maybe people are gonna find out. What if they call me out at practice and be like, look, who voted for themselves? Or like, and I think the worst fear was like, what if I get it and I really don't deserve it anymore because I voted for myself like I'm a bad person. And so yeah, definitely the same feeling of like I'm gonna get caught for something I just
Yeah.
did.
Which is the I'm
Motor.
gonna get caught is very much like a motor conflict,
Yes.
trapped, caught, like I'm being caught in the trap,
Yeah.
like this. So it could be, physically someone could catch you and hold you down, or you could
Yeah.
be um caught in a lie, in like you get in trouble, this kind of
Yeah.
thing.
And that was what I was in. And like
Yeah.
and it was a different feeling than like most of my chronic pain, because most of my chronic pain flares up and goes down. This was just an underlying like tightness that wouldn't go away.
Yeah. Oh, so we should also say motor conflict is the tightness that can like be so intense
Yeah.
that it causes like a lot of pain,
Yeah.
is a conflict active phase
Yeah.
symptom, and then the
Yeah.
resolution would be
Muscle
muscle
spasms.
spasms. Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, so I was sitting at the kitchen table and I was thinking about all of this and I saw, okay, those two experiences were the same. I also never told anyone
Right,
that,
because it was similar to the most recent experience
yes,
soccer, because you were afraid of like being caught for having been
yeah, for
like,
having said something, done
yeah.
something that like I did something wrong.
Even though like both these are like like from an outsider, you're like,
Yeah.
this is hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, because basically, well, we'll get to the part
Like
when
you're not
when
playing
told
in a soccer league where people are actually like shanking people and like
I
getting
know.
in trouble.
I know. Yeah, I know. But I mean, I'm quite thankful for it that it happened, because then
No,
it helped.
totally.
Yeah, it helped me
But I'm
figure out
just
the
like, giving you a
original.
little context. It's not like
Yeah.
you live somewhere where like that's actually a
No.
reasonable like
No.
thought to have.
Nope. Not at all. No, not at all. And
So then you had to confess.
yes, so I saw them and I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is what I never said. Because at first we thought that it was just that like, because I never confessed this part. I said I wanted MVP and I didn't get it, and that was like the thought of maybe that.
Oh, you didn't get it that next
Yeah,
week.
I didn't.
Right,
Yeah,
because yes, I remember being on the phone with you at the time, and I was like, oh, I guess you're just you just get it.
Yeah, I didn't get MVP and that I wanted it, and that like
Uh-huh.
that was it. And yeah, but I never told anyone that I voted for myself, because I felt really like ashamed about it. I felt like really bad, like a stupid person. And anyway, so yeah, I saw it, and then Freya came upstairs and I was like, Freya, I have to tell you something funny. I know what it is. This is the original incident. Obviously, she just laughed at me. Then she got Matthew up and our mom up and was like, you have to say the same thing to them. And so I did. I said the same thing to them. And the funny thing was, is like within genuinely 5 minutes, probably less than, like the pain in my leg changed. Like first it was like this tightness that I couldn't get away that felt like, it was gonna snap at any time. And then suddenly it felt like my entire leg, because this is my sciatic nerve. It wasn't just like a part. It was, yeah, it was located in my hamstring, but it was my sciatic nerve, so it stretched down the whole leg. Suddenly, the whole leg was like was having these muscle spasms and releasing, and it felt as if I had gone to acupuncture, so like had it manually released, and this was like the pain of like a muscle that was really tight letting go. And that lasted for like 3 days. It was really intense experience, but I like this ache, this ongoing muscle release in my leg right after confessing. Like this is where it was I didn't have to, because if you think of the conflict was my fear of getting caught. So me telling what it was, I couldn't get caught anymore, because like it was no longer a secret, and so there wasn't, other things that I had to like change my perception of the world.
You could have other people just be like, it's okay.
Yeah. Everyone was like, wow, Kezia, okay. And you even said, you're like, I would have done the same thing. I would have voted for myself, but I wouldn't have felt bad. Like it's just because you felt bad, you felt ashamed about it, that it became a conflict for me. And it makes sense that it became a conflict for me, because I was so freaked out that someone was gonna find out. And now, now I've told the internet multiple times. So yeah, I guess secret's out, can't really be caught for that. And also, so my muscles all released, and it took like 3 days, and then I've never had this tightness again. Like I never this thing that was kind of like a ghost feeling in my leg for a whole year, it was completely gone. I and had no fear of coming back. And yeah, that was that was probably like my funniest resolution of just confessing your secrets. Like whatever the thing you're most ashamed about is, it's the thing that's like trapped in your body.
Yeah, I had as a completely different example, people haven't listened to all the podcasts. Some of my chronic pain was also motor conflicts. A lot of it to do was like like fear of being caught being fondled in the library when I was like, 15 or whatever. Um, and so
That's funny.
there's so many ways you could be caught for like legal issues or financial. There's
Yeah.
so many ways
I
people
think
are afraid of getting in trouble, and I think it definitely causes a lot of motor conflict.
Yeah, and I would say like I did have a secondary motor conflict in this experience because I would sometimes get the deeper sciatic pain, but I would sometimes just get a bit of a localized hamstring like tightness. And that was when I was like constantly checking my body
Oh,
of like
yeah.
and that was originally what we thought it was because
Yeah.
basically I'd played well. Oh, and also why
Okay,
it was
hold
a
on. No,
hamstring.
we should really, really talk about this one because
Yeah.
this is really common. Like what the pattern she's about to talk about is really, really common. I see a lot with people who have like MS diagnoses, or like anything kind of in that sphere, is like the constant, and most people will have some variation of this. If you've had any long-term physical pain, is the constant self-assessment. So like, oh, is the pain there?
Yeah.
Or like with MS, it might be like, do I still have this range of motion? Like the people will be like doing like specific movements, like 20 times a day because
Yeah.
they're checking, oh, do I still have this like available to
Yeah.
me? And those things are not innocuous. Like that is part of the proliferation and like the snowballing of symptoms
Yeah.
that can occur.
Yeah, and I think like also to mention briefly like why the hamstring and why the left side of like when I walked off that game that I felt like really good about, I remember doing like a body scan and thinking that my hamstring like it felt not like tight or anything. It was just like, oh yeah, it's tired, like it's put on a good run. And so I do remember thinking like making a connection in that moment to my hamstring. And on the left side, well, it was the left side, but like also could be I could see where like this like shame of like I did something wrong is related to my mom as well. And like what would she think about me doing that? Like
She'd
and
have told you to do it too.
she probably maybe, yeah, maybe. That's true. But yeah, but also remember like my long, long history of chronic pain. And so it's quite visceral in my body that like as soon as things go well, as soon as I feel good about myself, like I'll get pain. Like whether I knew GNM or not, like this is kind of something that I knew was already happening because it happened like my entire childhood. Um, and so yeah, I think like the next game I was so hyper aware and I remembered doing
Well,
this.
and were you not afraid in that game too of like people like outing you in that moment?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I was afraid to get caught, but I was also like I was checking my body constantly of like am I
Um,
okay? Am I okay? Am I okay to play? Like is the pain when's the pain gonna come? Is it gonna come? I don't know.
mm,
Like because I was so used to pain following feeling good about myself. Um yeah,
right.
and then I saw it again, in the story that I told about the shin splints that when I after I went on that run I had the intense shin splints and then made the connection. It went away. An hour later, I had the hamstring pain, and it's because I was like constantly checking: Are shin splints here? Are shin splints gone? Like, am I okay? Will I be fine? Like, is this now gonna put me into shin splints for the next 3 months? Like, can
Yeah.
I still run? And
Yeah,
I was
and the
constantly
connection with the
checking.
motor conflict is like being trapped to the symptom,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah,
oh no, like no matter what I do, this symptom doesn't change. Like
yeah,
I think I'm free of it, and then it comes back. Like
yeah,
I'm just like
yeah.
yoked to this thing, and so
And
yeah.
then we talked about it, and then you're like, you just have to like tell your body that you're safe, like
Mhm.
convince yourself. And that's what I kind of did for a few days. I was like, okay, I'm fine, I'm safe, like this is okay. And it went away. And so when it came back after that game, like 5 months ago, I tried doing that for the whole week. I was like, I'm like, I don't know why this is still here
Mhm.
because like I feel safe, I feel fine. It was a different type, like that's what I mean. Like that was the deeper type of pain. The like feeling like I'm gonna get caught by the pain
Mhm.
was definitely it was more localized in the hamstring. It was probably like more muscular
Right, whereas getting caught for like
for
being a bad
for
person.
being a bad person was in my sciatic nerve. And yeah, and I kept being like, okay, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Like I don't feel threatened
Mhm.
by like I'm not checking my body all the time, but it's still there. And that's when I started looking into the experience more and started being like,
Mhm.
what is the connection to the original incident? And that's when I saw it. So yeah, it was interesting that like in the original incident there were two motor conflicts that
Mhm.
came at the same time and were in the same location. They were just in different levels of
Mhm.
tissues.
Yeah.
And yeah, and now I don't have either of those. So
And how far can you run? Oh, no, you can't run now because you're injured. Like actually injured.
yeah, it's a bit ironic filming this podcast now because I tore my meniscus a few days ago, but it helped me teach like it helped me learn a lesson of like acute versus chronic injury and also the injury exception, I guess.
And I think because, I mean, you speak to this, like, how have you at least tried to respond differently to getting, like, having an
Yeah.
actual physical injury, knowing Germany medicine and knowing how much it matters, like,
Yeah.
that, okay, yes, you had a physical injury, but it matters how you respond to it to not kind of keep it going.
Yeah.
How have you, like, tried that?
Yeah, so like so this is originally I got the injury like 2.5 months ago playing soccer. And it was actually, in these other cases, nothing had happened. I just got the pain. Where in this case, like I landed badly, I twisted my knee, and I could hear like things crack, and so like I properly was injured. Um, and yeah, I think like I really had to not think about my knee as like being bad and being broken and being like something that was never going to get fixed. Like I did believe that it could get fixed. And talking to you as well, and you're like, just like don't freak out about this. And I mean, and it's not that I didn't. I definitely there are times where I was just like super super low and being like, oh, like I hate that I'm injured, and I do think. And that's kind of why I got back into things like way too quick and I think part of that is because I've been so used to having chronic injury that I've played on all throughout my life. Um, of like I play with Shin Splints, I played with Plantarfaciitis, like my tolerance for pain and playing is quite high. And so I was just like, oh, I can go back to this now. Like it's not too painful to run around, it's not too painful to play. I'm fine. Obviously because I was used to chronic pain and not an acute injury. And so I tried that with an acute injury and re-injured myself 2 days ago. Yeah, I think it's just not letting the injury like define you or your ability, but like trusting that your body is gonna recover. And I do trust my body's gonna recover. I just like now have to actually give it time to recover rather than like be like I'm invincible. I can do whatever I want and go back to sports within like 2 months or not. And I think it went back after like 3 weeks or a month. It's really not my smartest decision, but yeah.
Okay, well, hopefully people could keep track of all the different bits that were hurting.
Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth and different stories, but
Yeah, because it is all sort of connected to each other, which is not unusual. You
Yeah.
have kind of clusters of symptoms where like it's related to the same issue.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.